Okay, very warm welcome to everyone to this special session, special NEC session and astronomy education professional session on, as you can see there, Pan-African opportunities for astronomy education. So just firstly, we thank AfAS for giving us this opportunity to make this discussion. And so I've got a brief, I've got a program there, what we're going to be doing. And my name is Sally McFarlane, and I am the NEC South Africa Chair. And today we're going to be discussing these opportunities. Now, as you might be aware, in 2 years' time, in 2024, the IAU General Assembly will be held in Cape Town. Now, this is not only an achievement for South Africa itself, but it's an achievement for the whole of Africa, as it's the first time on African soil. So what we really want to do is take this opportunity, take this motivation to try and establish, create these connections amongst the NECs and amongst these astronomy education professionals. And for this reason, we've got this session today just to establish these connections. And also one of the main goals for this session will be to try and network amongst ourselves, as well as just discuss our next steps. And for this reason, we've got a few talks that you can see scheduled there. Our first talk is going to be from Shiamiso Makwela, who is our OEE representative. And she'll be introducing us to the OEE, as well as some of their projects. And then we've got a list of, from around Africa, who will just discuss some of their astronomy education projects. And then we're going to have a discussion. So at this stage then, I encourage us all to discuss these projects and the possibility for implementing them around Africa. And then we'll finish up there with establishing different communication channels. So before we go on to Shiamiso, I'd just like to invite Sarah to just, my co-chair, just to say a few words.
Hello everybody. Hope you can see and hear me. So I'm Sarah Aboti Masters. I'm here in Accra, Ghana. So hello, Cape Town. So I am one of the NAICs for Ghana, and I'm also, at the moment, I'm the General Secretary of AfAS, but that's only up until 1st of April, since we'll be having the elections tomorrow. And I'm generally involved in various astronomy education projects. I'm a volunteer at the planetarium, but in recent years I've got very involved with things like school astronomy clubs and teaching students and also training teachers. So astronomy education is something I'm very interested in. So I'm very happy that we're having this session today. And I'd just like to, for everyone just to feel free and come up with their ideas and suggestions and inputs so we can kind of grow the community.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I'll now pass over to Shiamiso so she can introduce the OAE. There it is. I was looking for those main goals.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see everyone in person after such a very difficult time. My name is Shiamiso Makwela, and I'm one of the astronomy education researchers at the IAU Office of Astronomy for Education. And that's our email there on my first slide, which is very important for you later, so I'll come back to it. Okay. Right. Okay, Okay, so who is the OAE? For people that don't know, the OAE is one of the offices of the IAU, so it's the sister office to the OAD, the OAO, as well as the OYA, yes, Office of Young Astronomers. It is hosted at the House of Astronomy in Germany, Heidelberg, Germany rather, and the director is Markus Posel and the deputy director is Karen Lefke. And really the aims of the OAE is to support the many ongoing initiatives that leverage astronomy for education, especially for primary and secondary school learning. And this is very important for us because in most cases as professional astronomers, we really focus more on undergraduate level and beyond that, you know, the master's, honors, that's where we focus on, but the OAE primary focus is on secondary and high school, primary and secondary schools. Swipe. Okay, so I'll mention some of the objectives including, and these objectives will also include some of the projects that we've done under these objectives. So one of our main goal is to really support the professionalization of astronomy education. This really means we try to support professional astronomers, astronomy educators, teachers worldwide to gain the skills they need in order to communicate about astronomy effectively, especially for primary and secondary school learning. And we've tried to do this with carrying out the Shore IU workshops. So far, we have done 2 of those where we have the community of professional astronomers, astronomy educators in one setting where they share ideas about what they actually do in astronomy education and how they can support one another from then on. We also try to make sure that educators can find excellent resources to use. I mean, one of the challenges of teaching astronomy is the fact that, you know, teachers don't know where to look when they need resources to use, when they have to find activities for their students to do in their classrooms. They actually don't know where to go. So we try to actually make sure that we have this space for teachers to go to, or a place for teachers to go to when they need resources to use. So we have done some collaborations with ADS, and last year we ran a whole week a project on creating a glossary. So this glossary was based on what astronomy education teachers as well as science teachers think is important for students in primary and secondary school to know about astronomy. So all these concepts, we had them in one, and we had a glossary sprint where people across the world were defining these items. And as soon as this is completed, well, most of it was done in English, and as soon as it's completed, we will open it up for translations to many other languages. There's also Astro EDU, where teachers can find resources and activities that they can carry out with their students. But also, if you are a teacher and you have some excellent resources and excellent activities that you've already tried out, you can also upload that activity on Astro EDU for other people to use and share. And there's the other project of the big ideas in astronomy. This is a very nice project. I'm really excited about it myself, because the big ideas speak on what is it that people need to know about astronomy. And all those ideas that are important for people to know and talk about astronomy are all listed there. And under these things, teachers can always go to these ideas and then check what is it that's important and know where to start in terms of teaching that astronomy. We also try to support the inclusion of astronomy in curricula, and this is a big one, and we're really doing it really, really small steps, which I'll explain later in parts of the astronomy education research projects that we do. So mostly the support of the inclusion of astronomy in curricula is closely related to the research that I do, and that's on student interest, the role of astronomy for STEM teaching, because, you know, astronomy is the mother of all sciences, yes. So it's important that, teaching astronomy is not just important for astronomy and astronomers, but it's important for understanding maths, physics, geography, and all of those other subjects. And we're also exploring the use of planetariums as learning spaces instead of just planetariums being entertainment spaces. I mean, this is something that we really need to think about in terms of, what is it that we do and, we show and tell when we go to the planetarium. We need to try and find ways to make it both an entertainment space, but also a learning and conducive space. The other objective, which we're really doing well in this, to create, maintain, and grow a full network of associates, collaborators, and partners. And so far, to date, we have 7 centers and nodes around the world that are helping us with the first 3 objectives that I've just mentioned. So we have all these centers and nodes which are around the world, and we have recently, I think, Egypt, which is also one of our centers and nodes who recently joined us in ensuring that we reach our goals. And we also have the National Astronomy Education Coordinators, which is many of you who are joining us online today. And your role is very, very important in ensuring that all these goals are met, not just our goals, but your goals as well, as educators and astronomy education practitioners and professional astronomers who are interested in doing some education. And this is where we are trying to find communication in terms of what is it that you're doing and how can we support it, or this is what we're doing and this is how we can support the OAE, because it's a two-way stream, right? We are aiming to support, but we're also seeking support from the people that we're working with and the people on the ground. So it's very pleasing to see that Africa, we do have NIACs in few countries. It's only just a few countries which do not have any NIAC team. And if you're here and you're from one of those countries that do not have a NIAC team, please just follow the link there for more information in terms of how you can volunteer to be a NIAC. So these are some of the projects for 2022 that we have. We have the astrophotography contest. This is the second time we'll be running this contest this year. And really the aim of this project is to provide astronomy education, educators rather, with a collection of high quality educational resources. We know that there are always pictures about astronomy, but I think if we have pictures that people can actually relate to and pictures of things that people have seen before with their own eyes, it's really more interesting to explain what is it that they see. I mean, the first time I saw the sun halo was, I think, in 2010, and I was just wondering, what is this? Are we close to 2012 where the world is about to die? And I didn't know all of those. So because we're experiencing all these things, I think it is good to have materials that we can actually relate to, and then we can use all these materials to open up the conversation to education and to teaching about why are things happening the way that they do. And the winning images are selected not only on their beauty, because yes, astronomy has beautiful pictures, but we're also looking for their educational value. What is it that they teach students? What is it that they say? What is it that they are communicating to the people that will be looking at these pictures? Another project, it is the Teaching Teachers Pilot Project. So we are calling it a pilot project because this is the first time as the OAE will be carrying out this project. So for now, it is a once-off fund for teacher training initiatives globally. So each and every, everyone, well, not everyone really, because we have a condition, okay? So the condition is that, the applications for this teacher training should be submitted by a NIAC in your countries. And although this call will go out to really a wider community, we would really love it to see teachers looking at this call and saying, okay, where do I go next? And they know that the first point of contact they can go to is their NIAC in their country, and then they can collaborate with the NIAC in their countries in order to have teacher trainings. But this is also to improve communication between our NIACs and the teachers, because we as the OAE, we have no idea what the teachers are doing. We have no idea what the curriculum standards are around the world. We have an idea of some of them, but we don't know everything. And it is through the NIACs that we are able to have an idea of what's going on in different parts of the world. So we hope that, whether this must take a workshop structure, people can apply for it, and the call should be released sometime in March 2022. It might be late, but it's coming. So we are really looking forward to high impact teacher training projects and workshops around the world. So please, if you have an idea, if you know someone who might have an idea who can collaborate with the NIAC, please do so. Oh, swipe. And these are the astronomy education projects. So astronomy education research, I'm sorry, I need to make the distinction between the two. So the first part, that was astronomy education. Now these are research projects, astronomy education research projects. And one of them, as I mentioned, is astronomy curriculum around the world. So we, sometime last year, there was an email sent out to all the NIACs to say, hey, can you please just, give us a summary of what's in the curriculum in terms of astronomy, so that at least we know what is it that's being taught in astronomy in primary and secondary schools around the world. And some countries actually do not have an astronomy curriculum. Astronomy is done as part of geography. And I know in South Africa, astronomy is done in term 4, where teachers don't actually have the time to teach astronomy, and they're all, it's exam time. And so we're trying to analyze that and find ways in which we can integrate astronomy curriculum so that it is very active throughout the year. There's also teacher training standards. This one is, it's a survey project that we are seeking to provide a framework for astronomy teacher training. So trying to find out what is it that professional astronomers need to know about teaching astronomy, because it's one thing knowing and understanding your research, and it's another teaching about what you're actually doing. So I think this so far, this report, because we didn't have ethics, was only distributed to IAU members so that they can answer and actually give us an idea of what they're doing. There's also the Global Planetarium Survey. This is in collaboration with Leuven Royal Observatory in Belgium, and the survey has already been launched in multiple languages. So everyone who's doing some work in planetariums, please do click the link there. I'll send the link also on WhatsApp, so that you can actually answer and see what and how can we make our planetariums both entertainment spaces and learning spaces. And thank you so much. Please do follow us on Twitter, on Facebook. You can go to our website. We have a very new website that's very friendly, so I invite all of you to check it out. And also just email us if you have any questions, you have any ideas, at oae@astro4edu.org. And thank you to all the NIACs that I already see on the slide, Sally, Sarah, Sivuyile. I can spot all of you there, so thank you very much for all the hard work that you are doing. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sia. Well, I think we'll just go through some of the other talks that we've got lined up, and then we'll discuss and address some of your wonderful projects that we've got. So keep your questions in mind. If you want to make sure that you remember them, please put them in the chat. Yeah, so I think we'll head straight on. Daniel, if you could please come up and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. Morning, everyone. So my name is Daniel Kunnema. I am the Science Engagement Astronomer at the South African Astronomical Observatory in Cape Town. Sally asked me just to say a couple of words. She approached me with the idea of a Pan-African Olympiad. And I just wanted to mention one of the projects which the observatory, in collaboration with SASTA, the South African Agency for the Advancement of Science and Technology, runs. We run a project every year called Astro Quiz, which ordinarily we would distribute questions to schools around the country, which the teachers would then facilitate the teams of 4 or 5 students. They would mark the quizzes, return it to us, and we would go through various rounds, resulting in a final, which was generally held here in Cape Town. We'd bring the finalists down here. But in the last couple of years, that's obviously been not possible with the COVID-19 pandemic. So along with SASTA, the observatory developed an application, a mobile application, which is currently available on Android devices, and we are planning to have it available on iOS as well as on a website within the next few months. And we last year ran the Astro Quiz completely virtually. We had over 400 schools participating simultaneously with over 800 teams. And it went pretty much without a hitch. So that went really, really well. And in chatting to Sally, basically, I just wanted to say that, this facility exists. I think it's something which we've developed along with SASTA, and we would be, happy to talk about extending this beyond South Africa. We obviously have to speak to SASTA about that and take the conversation forward. But we're also planning to run the science and maths Olympiads through this application in the next year or two. So that's basically all I wanted to say in the context of this. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Thanks, Sally.
Thank you, Daniel. So a very exciting concept and opportunity for us for Pan-African implementation, I think. But we'll get into that in the discussions. Next up, Zakaria, please. Let's see if you're online.
Yes, I'm here.
We'd love to
Just
hear
1
from
minute. Thank you very much.
Does he just need to start sharing his screen? Okay, so if you could just share your screen, please, and then we can take it from there.
Yes, I will share my screen. Okay.
Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, there we go.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Okay. I share my screen. You can see it? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see your screen. Maybe if you could just make it full screen. There we go.
You can see my full screen or not?
Yes. We can see your notes too.
Okay. I will share the second screen. It will be better, I think. Okay.
Yes, that is perfect.
It's okay now? Thank you very much. I'm Zakaria Belhaj, the chair of NIAC Morocco. I will present to you our Moroccan school curriculum. In Morocco, we have primary, middle school, high school, and university. Primary school about 6 years, middle school 2 years, high school 2 years, and the university, bachelor, master, and the PhD maybe about 9 years. For the primary school, we have astronomy at level 1, just an awareness about season and gravity. Unfortunately, for the second level, we don't have any information about astronomy. It's our job now to give some ideas to our ministry to introduce astronomy in the second level. For the third level, we have system, solar system, and hands-on project to create a model of it. Sun as a source of light and heat, the climate and the weather. For the level 4, moon phases, day and night, shadows, season, weather and climate change. Level 5, some activity about sun composition, sun-earth comparing size. In Arab lessons, we have an example of an astronomer, Mariam Shadid. It's an Moroccan French astrophysicist. Just a text about star lover and the journey to space. And unfortunately, in this 6th level, we don't have any idea about astronomy. For the middle school, for the level 1 in geography, we have Earth shape, coordinates, concept of universe and solar system, Earth rotation, and orbiting and their consequences, moon orbits, Earth and moon phases. And in Arabic, we have some text about satellites and some poetry to an astronaut. For level 2, we have In physics, exercise about light, definition of astronomy, solar and lunar eclipses. And level 3 about Newton, Apple, and gravity. And English, some text about subjects about solar system. For high school, the first level is a common level. In history, we have text about Ptolemy and Copernicus. In physics, we have cosmic gravity. And for the level 1, the second year of high school, in philosophy, we have a text about Stardust rocket. And in the end level, the level 2 of high school, in physics, we have nuclear, mass and energy, satellite and planet, Kepler's law, Newton's law. For the university, in bachelor physics or mathematics or biology or chemistry, the first year and second year we have courses about Newton's laws, Kepler's laws, relativity theory. And for master, we have just 2 universities. They can offer a master in astrophysics in our university in Marrakesh and observatory of Qadi Iyad. And in Casablanca, we have a master about meteoritics and planetary science. And for PhD, the same thing. We have a PhD in astrophysics just in 1 university in Marrakesh, and the PhD of meteoritics and planetary science in Casablanca. For our projects in Morocco, this year we have our NIAC teams. We are now writing global reports about astronomy in Moroccan school curriculum. We will add our recommendation to send this report or share it with our education ministry. Maybe we can add some ideas or some projects in our curriculum in Morocco. Our NIAC team with our NOC in Morocco, we will organize maybe 10 GTTP training for 250 teachers, hands-on activities for maybe about 5,000 of primary students. We will try to create some new astronomy association in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, and create astronomy club in schools in this training and activity with the ministry this year. Thank you. It's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zakaria. I especially like the idea of having school astronomy societies, and I think we can discuss possibly how we could implement them across that idea across Africa as well. Let's get on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is going to be Doreen. If you could please share your screen, Doreen.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, thank you. Let's see.
I didn't prepare slides.
Oh, no, that's absolutely fine. Then feel free to take it away. Just introduce yourself and your projects. Thank you.
Yeah, will do. This is my second talk in this workshop. So yeah, class work, you know. So I hope you are all well. I'm Agaba Doreen. I'm calling here from Uganda. Just to talk about activities we have done in terms of astronomy outreach, astronomy education outreach. I would like to start off by appreciating all the support we get from IAU, OAE, OAD, the sisters, brothers, and their parents. Keeping us updated on projects that we can involve students in, pointing us to opportunities, providing funding here and there. And so we appreciate this support for our continent. I founded a space company in Uganda when I left UCT. It is the first private space company. And one of the things we had to do was reach out to the community and share how important space, astronomy, astrophysics are in our lives and how they can help us make our lives better. So this is the background of how I ended up becoming ANEC, as I've heard you pronounce. So we have several other projects, but part of our education outreach in terms of astronomy, we have carried out 4 activities so far and have others planned. I was happy to see the link that has been shared. I saw yesterday also the call for proposals, and we are considering that with our team. So the first activity I would like to talk about, I'm going to share the link of the company in the chat, possibly when I finish my talk. This is a 5-minute talk, so shouldn't take long. We did an essay contest. This was for any young person between the ages of 11 to 18 years. We did this in collaboration with NASA scientists for a day. We called on to any young person in that age group, whether in primary school, secondary school, national school, or homeschoolers. We got some homeschoolers as well. And they sent in their essays. We had volunteer astronomers, one of whom is actually an SAO staff member. We had volunteer astronomers help us to grade them. We had 2 winners from actually a school in a refugee camp here in Uganda. Their essays, I'm going to share also another link where put on the NASA website, NASA Scientists for a Day. We made a newsletter for all the essays, pulling out what they had written. The essays were about 3 moons. You read about the moons and you justify why you would want to send a robotic spacecraft to look at them. So it was quite interesting, and we wanted to carry it out again. Sorry about the background noise, guys. So we wanted to continue this. However, when we contacted the NASA Scientists for a Day, we were told that it's now only for Americans. And I'm going to put in a proposal to start our African version of it because it was really a good platform. Another project we engaged in was in a collaboration with Global Sky Partners. So we registered with Global Sky Partners on the education outreach program of LCO. Since this one was a bit advanced, we contacted university students, any student doing a science course, physics, math, education, and you're interested in learning about how how astronomical observations are made, observing a simple target of your interest, and documenting your experience, processing that data with help, of course, and then making this your undergraduate project. So we contacted physics department at Makerere University, and we got many students interested. So 4 were given this opportunity, and we are currently finishing this with the help of Edward from LCO. It has also been interesting, and we intend to carry this on under Global Sky Partners. We have a kids club, and we initially wanted this kids club to be a general club in schools, but we found that the interest was more in refugee camps. When we took it there, it was more embraced. And so we have collaborated with the education management in refugee camps in Bidibidi particularly, because we have another project going on there. And yes, we are initiating the kids club at the school to share materials, small experiments that only require household items such as a ruler, a mirror. We do not want them to think that this has to be an expensive venture. We hope to get a 3D printer and maybe do some 3D printed models and share. But there has been a lot of reception. Science teachers are willing to be the patrons of these clubs because for us, we are just coordinating. We cannot be in the camp all the time. The next one is we had a plan to hold public talks or webinars maybe every quarter. We have not been successful with that. However, we had one webinar under Meet the IAU Astronomer program. So we had a chat, people logged in, colleagues, university lecturers, and it was quite interesting. This is to tell you what we've done so far, to let you know that we hope to do more. I personally have found it that I still need to fill the form that was sent concerning the status of astronomy in schools here in Uganda, because we are in the phase of curriculum change. We did not want to provide inaccurate information. The curriculum is being transformed, and the new one might have certain components of space science and astronomy in it. So I'm still waiting on material to fill that form. So thank you very much. That is what we are doing. We will keep doing more with your guidance. Thanks for listening to me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doreen. You mentioned some very exciting projects there, the essay contest, as well as the observations and the kids club. And you can start to see a theme running in different countries here. These school astronomy clubs are coming up, so it's definitely worth us collaborating in our efforts and sharing our resources. Our next speaker, Miracle, sadly wasn't able to be here, but he's sent through a video, which we'll now play.
Hello and welcome to this program where we will be discussing and learning about the Asteroid Search Campaign, which is a citizen science program run by the International Astronomical Research Collaboration. My name is Mira Pechuza Marcel and I am from Nigeria. I'm a young professional with interest in astrophysics. I'm presently working as a science teacher and as well as voluntarily coordinating this asteroid search throughout the sub-Saharan African regions. Asteroid Search Campaign is a 1-month hands-on program where participants, which we normally call citizen scientists, learn some important skills. They learn how to analyze image data which contains asteroids with a very special computer program called Astrometrical. And they get to make very many important discoveries and even christen these discoveries with their names after the International Astronomical Union must have evaluated their observation. Citizen scientists can range from professionals to non-professionals, from various STEM fields or non-STEM fields. And this program, the Citizen Science Program of the International Astronomical Research Collaboration, is used to encourage younger ones towards space science research and studies. And that is why I want it in Africa. So far, we've been able to reach out to teachers and students and young professionals from more than 15 countries in Africa. And we want this program to be replicated throughout space-related organizations, institutions, or departments in Africa. And this is why we are here. So you can reach out to me via my email or WhatsApp number displayed on the screen, or you can contact Miss Sarah or Dr. Niraj. Thanks for listening.
Right, thank you very much, Miracle. Our next speaker, Tumo, I don't know if I've seen them online. Tumo, if you're here. No, I don't think so. So our next two speakers unfortunately couldn't be here. So we'll actually head straight into the discussion now and really talk about some of the amazing projects that we've heard about, how we can possibly implement them across Africa. And after about 10 minutes of this, then we'll discuss how we can communicate and the best channels to communicate. So just to start us off, just as a reminder, we had some wonderful projects from Shia about teacher training, big ideas, and the glossary translations. All of these we can implement across Africa, I think, especially the teacher training. And this teacher training was also being conducted by, Zakaria mentioned this. So these are definitely things that we can get together and discuss further. Daniel also mentioned the astronomy Olympiads and the science and mathematics Olympiads. I think this is something, especially since we've got an app that we can implement in different countries. Then also the astronomy clubs. I think that's a wonderful idea. And lastly, the citizen science projects. I think that's a fantastic way to get high school students excited about going into research. So if you have any other ideas, any other projects we could perhaps discuss, I now open up the room to any further comments on any of these projects, and or perhaps you have other projects that you could think of. Okay. Yes, Jamal.
Okay, should I go there? Actually, thank you. It's just some comments, general comments. I reached a little bit late to this session. I was at the other session, unfortunately. So I caught from here. In fact, I'm going to right away comment on what Zakaria, and I'll give him my warm salute, salam to Zakaria, to what he has presented for Morocco, which I think it's really a great and cover a large cross-section of things. So I'm just going to focalize on two things that, in fact, you just mentioned, you made the list of interesting subjects. Two, the teachers training program that actually also we do in Algeria very extensively, the NIC of Algeria, but unfortunately I didn't, well, they're not there. And the network of clubs, of astronomical clubs at the level of high schools and CM and so on and so forth. The first one is not, both of them actually need the, a collaboration, of course, with the direction of education of that region or the Ministry of Education, of National Education. But if it can be done, that's really an incredible start, because that's the efficient way of doing it. If you're trying to do it at the local level, that's not supposed to be the NIC's role. That's supposed to be the NOC's role, to work with the network of existing associations. If you want to do a real serious job, you have to go with the governmental, institutions, with education, and then all the doors are open. If you have enough guts to get them involved, that's a hard part of it. Then it's really the role of the NIC is to work with the government, not trying to do or to duplicate what the NOC or the astronomy association are doing. So again, that's a great idea, and what you said, Zakaria, and I believe that we should all try to get that in the various countries. I mean, again, two things I'm focalizing on. Of course, Olympiads and so on are also a very great idea. But two things: network of clubs, astronomy clubs across the various educational institutions, and that the active associations of astronomy can take the lead in training them. In some countries, they are well established, like in Morocco, they have a great associations of amateurs who can do the training, and also what did I say? The other thing was that's the clubs, and that's, yeah, training teachers, which is the role of NIC in general. Well, I just wanted to emphasize those 2 points. Nothing, I didn't add anything new, but that's what we should perhaps focalize. I mean, at least some of what we're going to be saying is on those 2 great programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jamil.
Thank you. Zakaria, do you have any comments on that?
Yes, thank you, Professor Jamal. Just one remark about establishing astronomy club in school. Yes, it's the role of NOC. Just the specific subjects in Morocco, I am NAIAC and member of NOC. I work with the 2 teams in both, and it's the same thing for the members in NIAC Morocco and NOC. We are the same members. We work together, and maybe it's the synergy to establish this astronomy club in schools. But our first objective is training teacher as a NIAC team, and work together with the NOC and the professional astronomer in Morocco to establish the.
Yes.
Thank
you very much, Zakaria. And I think that's it's also a good thing to point out. Also, I think there's been a disconnect with NAICS between ourselves and the governmental who are in control. Maybe Shia can take us off from there.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really difficult because whether we like it or not, education is political, and if it's political, it means we need to be talking to the government and suggesting ways in which we think it's important for that. One of the things that I've found as both an astronomy education researcher and an astronomy educator as well was the fact that, you would look at the recommended textbooks to teach science and to teach astronomy, and you'd find really the content there is completely, I'm sorry to use the word, incorrect. And that's the content that's really being taught. And that's where we, as the NIACs and as astronomy educators, we need to be more flexible and active in trying to say, hey, astronomers, let's come together and see what we actually think is important, going back to the big ideas. And how can we make sure that now the correct content is in the textbooks, and children are learning the correct things. And then we can go to the government and say, hey, maybe next time ask an astronomer to to check the content there. And I just wanted to also bring the point across the fact that, we've seen this overlap, that most of the times the NOCs and the NIACs are actually the same people in most countries. And which is why, I like making this distinction in my head that, there is outreach and there is education. And for me, for the longest time, outreach and education can look like the same thing. If I'm going out and talking about astronomy, it may look like I'm going out and teaching about astronomy, but these 2 things are actually really different. And I think we need to start looking at them in that way. We can look at outreach as the door to education. You can come and say, hey, this is what's happening in astronomy. This event is an astronomical event. And say, but what does it mean? And that's where education comes in. What does that mean? Why does it work the way that it does? So education and astronomy education goes one level deeper than just outreach. We can go out and talk about astronomy. We can go out and speak about the planets, speak about the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, all of those things. Those are fascinating. But how do we keep the fascination going? And that goes by teaching the actual thing of why are these events occurring the way that they do, and what does it mean? So going forward, I mean, right now we can see there's a Tiamiso Makwela on the chat, and I'm here, and that's my mom, who I can call an amateur astronomer, who has learned astronomy through me. She can go outside now and say, oh, that star is this, that star is that, that's why it's that. But, you know, that was me doing outreach to her. And for her to go in another deeper level is me actually saying, okay, this is why it happens, and explain the phenomena behind that. So I think it's really important also in our roles as NOCs and NIACs to know the distinction between the two, and understanding where do we need to go in terms of education, and where do we end in terms of outreach. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Shia. I think that's also going to be a very important point that we need to distinguish between, especially when, as in the lead up to the IAU, where do we, who's going to be running what projects or aspects, and as NAICS, what should we be doing? And as NAICS, I'd also like to emphasize something that Shia mentioned earlier, is that we are constantly on the lookout for more NAICS. Any astronomy professional is welcome to join the NAICS, and the more connections we make, the more we can build up this network, the more we can address these difficult questions, and learn from each other. Sarah, is there anything? I noticed you made a comment on maybe this is, if there's anything that you want to mention here.
Hello.
Yes, we can see you.
There. Okay. Yeah. No, I was just saying. Sorry, excuse me. This thing about the NIACs and the NOCs, as someone has already mentioned, sometimes they're the same person. Sometimes you have. I mean, in Ghana, we have NIACs. We don't have a NOC at the moment, and some countries the other way around. So, you know, I think we need to be a bit flexible about who does what, and ideally we work together. And I just wanted to say, while I'm on, just to say that, as I said, there'll be, you know, we're having our election tomorrow, and there'll be a new EC. One of the things we have an outreach committee in AfAS. Our education committee it's kind of in a phase of trying to be reformed. So, I mean, that's something maybe the new EC will look at. But if, you know, it's something I'm sure they may well want to bring in more people. So just for all NIACs and NOCs and those kind of people, please sort of keep your eyes and ears open. I mean, that's one of the ways you can contribute, is if there are these, you know, these structures, like if we're going to have a new education committee, or if we need more people to join these committees, then that would be great to have, you know, more people joining.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Do we have any more comments from the audience about any of these projects? Or yes.
Sadly, I cannot find the electronic hand.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
I don't know if Zoom has changed, so my user interface has changed. Anyway, I have try and increase my volume. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
All right. I have a few things to share in my brief experience. Yes, I do agree that outreach usually leads to education opportunities, and it's a good key and tool to use. I would also like to say that sometimes as a NIAC, you can have certain challenges. Some of them, the lack of official representation. So if I am going to collect information from a government institution, what do I present? Am I just a citizen interested in the curriculum? Can they trust that I am a professional and I am going to communicate this information professionally? Should they hide any glitches or any loopholes from me? I think as I continue to speak about what I'm proposing on this platform, it's a point of discussion on the official representation of ANAIC, our reach, because the information you're requesting for sometimes can be sensitive. Details of a curriculum, you can have colleagues here and there, you may go to an institution and ask, but there is information that you may not be able to access due to a lack of an official letter or title or position that you can go and say, I am a national and I represent this and therefore this information is for your own good. I will come back and report about our proposals on how we can incorporate this. So that form of continuity, it's not just get information, share. What about bringing it back to our countries? That is the first thing I would like to share. The next point is evidently we are making strides here and there in terms of clubs, teacher training, projects here and there. I would like to propose a continental approach. If we do this on a continental level, we would have an office, a relevant office coordinating this. It would be coordinating so maybe it would have departments of kids clubs, teacher training, essay projects, essay contests, but on a continental level. The relevant body, I do not know which one will be coordinating this. When there is a coordinating office on the African continent, for example, then we have a planned chart of activities for the whole continent. We have different schedules for implementation. We have a platform for sharing lessons that we have learned and how to deal with challenges. That's my other proposal. Such a continental platform would help to manage standards. So I could be doing what I can with what I have to have a kids club, but without knowing that I can actually make it better and enhance it using material, for example, from the OAE website. Actually, well done. The website looks good and the material is easily accessible. Someone may not have paid attention of the educational materials there, and they're saying, oh, what can I use? What can I do? A small thing like a 3D printer or a printer could make a very big difference in someone's efforts. So managing standards, because we have to, if we are associating ourselves with these activities, that means that we have to determine and say, we would like to see this. We're encouraging you to do this. We're encouraging you to approach this way. So it would also be a good platform to share experiences, encourage each other. There are people who have the enthusiasm, but they think, oh, maybe I need to be owning a company, or maybe I need to be a lecturer in order to participate in this. How will I do this? How will I get the influence? It also creates continuity. Someone ought to hand it over to the next one. Yeah. So that means that if I know my term is ending and maybe at that time of my life I am not pursuing it to continue further, then I source for someone or look out for someone to apply, and there is that handover. You're not starting from scratch. It can also be a good.
Yes, I think Doreen. I think that's sorry, I have to cut you off there. We unfortunately almost out of time, but I think you've led us into the next part of our discussion very beautifully. I think this is a fantastic idea, and I actually invite Ishia to make a comment on this just to round us off. I think this would be a wonderful idea to have a hub in South Africa, a NAEG education or NAEG Africa hub. I don't know if this has been discussed, but maybe the OAE could help us make this happen, and that in that sense, then at least we all the NAGs across Africa could have someone to communicate with them, and they could then set up possibly a WhatsApp group or a email chain or a mailing list, and then we can start sharing our resources and creating this network. But I think what Doreen was saying is very important, to have that central base so that we can all be on the same page. Yes, Jamal.
To clarify, in fact, the mic here should be clear enough. Really, it shouldn't be any confusion between Nike and NOC. If there is a confusion, that there is something wrong. Except in the case where the Nike and the NOC are the same, I mean, for historical reason. The NOC should, by the way, precede the Nike. Starting a Nike, unless the specific conditions of the country anyway, NOC is the background of, activities, outreaching, and so on and so forth, and that will, preceding the things is not the right thing. And Nike should not engage in outreach, unless it is Nike and NOC at the same time. Nike, it has a specific role, it should not engage in outreach, otherwise it's a failure. If he's doing things that the NOC are doing, or competing with the Astronomy Association, which sometimes happen, is a clash. Astronomy Association are doing something on the ground, and the NICOM, which has a specific role in education, he's doing also outreach. That's not realistic. That's not good. So I will believe that every time there's a Nike and the NOC, the Nike is same as the NOC. There is a problem. That's what I believe. And again, my strong message: the Nike should never engage into outreach. Otherwise, he has missed his mission. He's not understanding what his role is doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Jamal, and we'll certainly take that in note. There's a lot to learn from this session. Unfortunately, I have to bring it to a close now. If you haven't signed up on that spreadsheet, just so that we can stay in touch with each other. And then Shia, if you could go to the OAE and see about creating this hub. So the link has been posted. Please fill in your details. Otherwise, we'll also start talking to, we'll also address that to all the NECs and anyone any astronomy, or anyone who's interested. We'll make sure that we keep in touch with you. Okay, thank you very much for joining us for this session. We're going to bring it to a close now. Sarah, I don't know if there's anything else, or just a final word you want to say?
No, not just to say yes, thanks to everybody. And yeah, I do like this idea of having some kind of astronomy hub. I mean, I think we want to find some way that we can work together, and especially leading up to 2024. So yes, I hope we can really explore that in the next few months, how we can put that into place.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you very much to all the speakers. We'll certainly take into note all the different projects that we discussed today. And perhaps via that hub, that Central African hub, we can start to form subcommittees and work on those projects all together. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Ali. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Bye-bye.